All right. How do you want? We're going to go through every club and just give us a précis on it all. Some will go pretty quickly, and some will have a bit more. So the Crows, they get Burgess in, pick 14 and 20, and a future second from Melbourne. Duday and Shane McAdam go out 24 and 27. So they got 10, 14 and 20. And a
good draft, good draft hand. They'd be disappointed. They were having a crack, which I really respect. They had a crack at Oliver, went really hard for your man Petty and did about as much as they could to get him. Weren't able to get that. They got a strong draft hand. Adelaide's improvement will come from Pedler and Berry and Rochelle and Thilthorpe, and they've got a core group of young players. So
they've improved
they're
their
in a good
list
spot. No, they haven't improved.
They will by the end of the draft.
I think with the improvement coming from those players that have had 2 or 3 pre-seasons, they'll make the final.
And got 10, 14 and 20, so you'd imagine they'll improve their list by the end of that. So the Brisbane Lions have played in the grand final and added Tom Duday and Brandon Ryan, who's a young 200-centimetre forward, and they've lost Gunston and Fullerton and Picks. Their first pick's number 30. I think they've done well to add Duday to their team, into their list. Whether he can get his body right and play senior footy, he's capable of it, and they've lost not much from Gunston and Fullerton.
Agree with that. Duday for nothing, and Ryan was the replacement. There's a bit to like about him. They've identified him. They gave a bit to get him, but they're in a good spot. Brisbane, the Blues, I love this. Mm-hmm. Like Elijah Hollins to come in, Garry. He's not quite fit enough yet. He needs another really strong pre-season. Andrew Russell is an excellent high-performance manager, so he'll sort that out. But he's an explosive, inside, powerful midfielder who can go forward and kick goals, and they got him for nothing. So
why has he been playing?
He's
that good?
Well, he had a knee, so he did have an ACL. As I said, I don't think he's been fit enough. They've said they played him out of position across half forward. And he's a young man, so he comes in. You go Dow for Hollins. I think that's a significant upgrade. So the Blues, they did well.
Lost Fisher, Paddy Dow, so they're still, their first pick's 22, 28, so I think they've got an eye on the Camporelli twins too, so they're stockpiling some picks for next year. Collingwood have been a big player here. Lockie Schultz into this squad. Ginnivan goes out, and then Taylor Adams was the big surprise.
They lost a bit, didn't they? I mean, we can sort of just say Ginnivan, okay, well, we can dismiss it, I guess, but he kicked 40 goals last year and played in their premiership 22. Wouldn't have probably been there if it wasn't for some injuries. So you can, but Schultz coming in is the big one. And if they stay sound, they're going to be hard to beat again. Schultz is a good player.
Yeah, I think he's a good player too. I think there's been a bit of hyperbole around him, but that's okay. He's going to play in a reigning premiership grand final team. He'll work his way in there, and I think the Ginnivan move is the right call for everyone involved. And Taylor Adams was interesting. Didn't see that coming. Highly regarded, highly rated leader, but maybe just smelt the wind, so he's gone. The Bombers, I was interested. I got a couple of interesting texts about this. All free agents: Mackay, Goldstein, Gresham, and Xavier Dersmer at the death come in with a few other picks. Zirk Thatcher goes out and D'Ambrosio goes out. They maintain pick number 9 and 31-35.
What was the gist of the text you got?
Well, this is the classic glass half full, glass half empty. It picked up 4 old blokes, or 2 old blokes. One real old bloke, another bloke that's played at North Melbourne. I don't mind Mackay, by the way. I think Mackay in a side that can defend better than what he's had to contend with. And Gresham and Dersmer, well, at various stages they've been on the outer at their clubs. They might. The world's full of players that go to a second club and the penny drops. So I'm told that Gresham's got to work harder and get more professional, and maybe Brad's able to put that on him. And you'd know more about Xavier Dersmer than me.
Yeah, and paid a bomb to get them as well. So the contract talk around Mackay for $850.
Financially, not in drafts, not in picks.
So that was the glass half full with what Essendon did. They gave up nothing to get these guys in terms of capital. Still take pick 9. Got a whole heap of talented players that they've drafted in high positions in the draft in the last 4 to 5 years. That would be glass half full. Half empty would say you've overpaid for players who haven't. Aren't genuine A-grade footballers. Dersmer I like. He's got a really good attitude. He's got really strong running power. He's courageous in the air. Needs to work on his ball handling. He's too fumbly in traffic. And if he wants to play inside, I'm not sure he's an inside midfielder. So if I was him, I'll be trying to own that wing position. What about the Dockers, Garry?
So just find on there. The size of this Essendon midfield group has always been my concern too. And I don't know whether they've addressed that in terms of the size of Parrish, the size of Merritt, Hobbs, and now they're going to add Gresham and Dersmer. So anyway, we'll watch with interest. Freo have done nothing. They've lost Liam Henry, Lockie Schultz, Joel Hamling. They've picked up a future first from Port Adelaide, future first from Collingwood. So they're well placed for next year. They haven't got a pick till pick 34.
So, I know it's Fremantle, so it's a bit off Broadway, but this is the club next year that fascinates me the most. With the coaches under pressure, underperformed last year, after they were on the track that we thought they were going probably through to a prelim final this year, or that was the path that they were treading, and they were disappointing. And they've lost 2 starting players out of their lineup, 2 important players. And then the coach comes in under significant pressure, but it's not his fault. Like, they haven't improved their list, but it's so with him being out of contract, Gary, I think this is a fascinating team with what has happened to them.
I did talk to them over the grand final week, just by coincidence, had a good chat. They're pretty confident in where they're at. They think they've got a young group that just needs another. They're thrilled with their leaders. They think their leaders are of the highest quality you can get in Sarong and Brayshaw. They love what Amos brings to the side. They think Pearce developed. So, as all clubs are, they're particularly bullish, but they haven't done anything at all there. So that is of concern. Geelong, they got picks in and lost Radaglia. So that's what they've done. They maintain pick number 8 at this stage.
They do. And, I mean, the squad is, if it stays sound with the ageing group, they'll be really competitive. They have injuries to Dangerfield with a hammy, or Blixarves to a hammy, who's now 33, Tui's 34. Duncan has had injuries. Guthrie's had injuries. So it is all coming down to whether that group stays sound. Jeremy Cameron missed some footy, but pick 8, they need to get a good one.
Gold Coast we've touched on briefly. So they've stockpiled. So essentially what they've done is stockpiled picks because they're academy kids who we were alerted to very early in the piece. The raps on Jed Walter as a big key forward are crazy. And then I don't know a great deal about Ethan Reid, Jake Rogers and Will Graham. Also really highly rated. Certainly the first couple they think are top 10 players. So they're going to add. They'll add to their list. I know. So what goes out is the early pick, as you said. But I'm happy, and I'm not happy. I'm confident for them that they're on the right track.
You should be, yeah. I mean, the talent they've got. Is their midfield depth strong enough, and do they have enough numbers running through the midfield? Will be something. And Flanders was really important, so he helped with those numbers. But Humphrey's a good player, and he'll get more time in there. But Rao, Anderson, Miller need some help. And, that will dictate their improvement.
And Damien Hardwick is their best pickup, probably of all. The Giants did nothing. They got a pick in, lost Matt Flynn, who was a bit superfluous in the end. So they've maintained their pick at 7 and 16. So they'll get a good player in, and I'm really bullish on the Giants in their list. So I love what they're doing.
Yeah. The Hawks?
You not?
I like I didn't think they need to do a lot. They had a really good trade period last year. That pick 7 is for Hopper, so that worked out pretty well for them, and 16. So they're in a good spot. They play the right way, and with their young players coming through, they're looking strong. Hawthorn were surprisingly aggressive. Garry, with the path that they're on, I thought it was all about going to the draft and getting as many picks in as possible. Do you think they've tried to fast track this?
So given I understand totally, maybe a trial, okay, if Kaczynski goes out, Chol comes in, and he has kicked 40-odd goals before, so they think he's a better version than Kaczynski. The Gunston one I've misread. I thought that that they'd gone past Jack Gunston and on the path that they were going. Clearly Sam has got a great... I kind of thought they both mutually agreed, but Hawthorn fans tell me that they wanted to keep him when he left. So... And from that point of view, I understand it. But I watched a lot of his footy, some of his footy he played last year. He looked like a bit older and a bit slower. And maybe that's the back. He's had back surgery, another pre-season. I'm hoping for his sake that he can get back to his best. But that was the one that surprised me. They lost Ryan. I liked him. A couple of things he did really nicely. Brandon Ryan, 200 centimetres. Surprised he's gone to Brisbane. Like a 200 centimetre forward wouldn't probably be the place I'd be going. But anyway, he has. And Brockman's gone back, who's okay, replaced by Ginnivan. So, all right, just a little curious about the Gunston one. And
I really like Brockman. I think he has potential to be a very good small forward. Not sure whether that will happen at the Eagles. So he's a big loss for them. And Wingard won't be there, and so we'll wait and see. But pick 4, they'll get a really good player. They had a crack at trying to get pick 1 unsuccessfully. So we'll need to nail that one and nail future drafts.
On Jack Billings, which was a late deal that went through yesterday. So the Demons have picked up Fullerton from Brisbane, Shane McAdam from the Crows and Billings, and pick 11 and a future second and a few other swaps. They end up with a draft hand that looks pretty good on draft night at the moment, 6 and 11, 42 and 93, doesn't matter. don't know much about Tommy Fullerton. I suspect that's just, back up. I'd hate to see Max Gawn go down. That would be a nightmare of monumental proportions. Jack Billings is interesting. We spoke about him during the week. I just said you had to have the conversation. I don't know. And this is a term that I love, Kane. It's not my term. I don't know who phrased it. I just want to know about his competitive stamina. Okay. That's the question.
Explain.
Well, your ability and willingness to compete for long, and when I say willingness, so that's mentally if you're a competitor, but then your body's got to enable you to do it. And we know that he's had some soft tissues and those sorts of things, and that can drain confidence. So there's no question with his ability with the ball in hand. It's just competitive stamina for him. And the fact that I think they're paying a bit of his salary and it was an end of third, probably worth having a crack.
Yeah, 11 games in the last 2 years.
Yep.
I think I've done pretty well, Melbourne. And it's all about nailing the picks that you get, and they'd love to have a crack at one. I'm not sure they've got enough to be able to make that happen, but if they could get Harley Reid in on draft night, that would be sensational for them. The role of the player manager is fascinating. We'll speak to David Trotter a little bit later on, but it feels like Paul Connors drove this Billings one late.
Right.
And the Saints get nothing. Like the Saints actually get nothing for him. 2 years to go, they pay his contract. They don't get a meaningful draft pick back. But it's Paul Connors with the power and influence that he's got across the competition saying, no, my guy needs an opportunity at another club. And Melbourne were, I guess, brave enough to swoop on that and give him that opportunity.
And the Saints have clearly had made their mind up on him to let him go, so they may know more. I've watched all their footy. James Harmes, I thought his best footy's past him, and so he needed a new environment. So good luck to him. And James Jordan is a good player and an end of second round pick, and he goes over to the Swans, and we know the Brodie Grundy situation. So not too bad. North Melbourne, one of our texters has got upset with me because I said they were disappointing. I was being sarcastic. I was trying to get a rise out of Johnny from Epping. They've done what they had to do. So they've got Dylan Stevens in, who was a top 5 pick, I reckon.
5, yep.
Zach Fisher, who has shown that he can play. Not sure about Biggie Nguyen, but they've lost Todd Goldstein. That's okay. They showed their hand in round 1 this year with Toddy Goldstein when they elected to drop him, or round 2, whatever it was. And Ben Mackay, well, he goes, but they get the picks. So 2, 3, 15, 17, 18. So this is a massive year for North Melbourne, in the next month and a half. It's going to determine what goes on with them.
Definitely. You got to bolster their defence. So, I mean, they get in Toby Pink, who's the listed free agent, so I'm not sure he helps. But McDonald didn't quite compete hard enough. Logue's injured. Zeebel's retired. McKay's gone. So their defensive, particularly their key position, they're going to have to address it in the draft, but there could still be some pain to come with the lack of tools in their back line.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there'll be structure around it with a full Clarkson pre-season, another one, and then him coaching. So I think it's, well, how can you not be excited if you're a North fan, given where you've had Port Adelaide? Yep, we've spoken about him. The Sava's going to help. Which of him and Alia is going to be the drop-off, and which is going to be the lockdown?
Well, they've tried to make Alia the lockdown, but I think they want to make him more the drop-off. But Asava plays that role as well. I don't know. I'm just happy they've actually got some defenders. Gaz and Zerk Thatcher can maybe lock down on the third tall. They got it all done. I mean, it was a big ask to get it done with not much because they traded away their picks for Horn Francis last year. They go to the draft with one pick 73.
Yeah, so they won't be picking, that's for sure. They got a total of 9 points. That's what they got.
Should you have to be?
You used
to have to pick 3. I reckon it was when I was sort of coming through.
Yeah,
and we're hearing that there may only be 50 picks using the draft. I don't know if that's great for the league if we're not selecting these young players.
It's not. No. I'm with you on that. The interesting one is Soldo and Sweet. So, Scotty Lysette, just read the writing there and has he packed his locker up?
He's gone. Yep.
Tigers, Jacob Kaczynski comes in. Some other picks, Biggie New and Ivan Soldo go out. Their earliest pick is 29 and 41. So, it's not really any great way of seeing them improve their list on that basis.
So. No, and I wonder whether they could have cut deeper. And it would have been bold to do that, and it would have been a move off course, a detour of what they had been planning this time last year when they were aggressive to go all in. But should they have done what Hawthorn had done and perhaps look at Tom Lynch on the trade table, or Jack Graham on the trade table, or Dustin Martin, I know he gets spoken about a lot, or Dion Prestia, and cut a little bit deeper and try and fast track where this is going. Because I'm with you. Who kicks the goals next year if Tom Lynch can't get up? Gibcus, I hear, is a good player, but has missed 12 months with a hammy. I mean, what second-year player misses 12 months with a hammy and is still not right? So I would be reasonably concerned about the Tigers.
So there's glass half empty. Glass half full is Adam Uze, who will turn around and say, okay, give me a crack at this list. Just as Adam Kingsley had a crack at his list, and just as McRae had a crack at his list that seemed to have lost all, not hope, but had lost a lot of the spark and energy, and a new coach came in and regenerated, and that's what the Tigers faithful will be hoping for, that a new coach can spark them up. Saints bring in Liam Henry, Patrick Dow, 24-40, future third, two future thirds. They lose Jade Gresham and didn't fight too hard there. Nick Caulfield, well, he had to go because he wasn't, and Jack Billings. So they were two high part draft picks, top 10 draft picks that haven't quite worked for them. And they've maintained 13 and 21 and 40 and 92. Yeah, not sure. I suppose Paddy Dow showed a fair bit in the back half of the year that suggests that he needed a good crack at senior footy and probably wasn't going to get it at Carlton. So that I like that move. And we spoke about Liam Henry earlier this morning. The best of Liam Henry indicates that he can find the footy, and they'll be hoping he can do a Blake Acres.
They just would have loved to pick inside the top 7 or 8. And their first pick is 13. They want to get more A-grade talent in. It's going to be tough to do it from there. And Stephen Silvani spoke about Paddy Dow giving them pop out of the stoppage, was the word that he used. Pop. Do you think he's got pop, Paddy Dow? You think he's got genuine leg speed?
More power than speed. I've seen him sort of burst from stoppage a bit, but we need to see it over the course of the year. But I think he's worthy of an opportunity, Paddy Dow.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad he's going to get it. Swans, Grundy, Adams, Hamling, James Jordan, pick 45, future first from North. Stevens goes out. They lose some early picks. They keep pick number 12. And then you're into the 40s. What I love most about this is they just went bingo, bango, got it done early and moved on. And that's it. That's what I loved about King Beatson.
And I love the fact that they didn't do a whole lot last year, and they learnt from that where other teams did. And this year they've gone, we're not making that mistake again as well. They had injuries to their back half, so they've bolstered that, needed a ruckman, got that, and strengthened their midfield.
What about this next group, West Coast? They've had one of the worst years we've seen for a long, long time. They obviously got picks, 23 and 37, and they've introduced Tyler Brockman and Matt Flynn. That's passive for me.
Not exciting you.
That's what
for me. They have to trade pick 1. They just have to. And that will. I'm sure that will happen.
Well, that would indicate they are, because the young talent will be great. Harley Reid, or if it pick 1 right now is Harley Reid, but they've got to get more than that.
Have to. When you look at what North have got, and even what Hawthorn have done, they're the teams that they're competing with. So they're going to, there's going to be a lot of pain, we understand that, but that pick 1 just has to go, and they'll get a pretty good deal for that, you would think.
And the Bulldogs are seen to have been a winner as well, so James Harmes, as I've spoken about, I think his best footy's behind him, but he may get another lease of life. Nick Caulfield a bit the same. Picks 5 come in, and then a whole host of other picks which will enable them to get Croft. So I think they've done pretty well. Jordan Sweet leaves, pick 11, 18 and 40, but they've got pick 5 at the draft, all the points that they need to get Croft, who's a top 10, top 15 player, so win.
The most talented list in the league is what they are. English,
hang on.
English, Darcy, Ugle-Hagan, Norton, this Croft guy's 200 centimetres. They got pick 5, they got Bailey Smith, they got all Australians across half back. They are stacked. They got Cody Waitman, who's a first round pick in the forward line. Absolutely stacked, Gary. The most talented list in the league.
No, well, I can't have that. But
have you got another suggestion of who is more talented? In terms of what they've got at their disposal?
Yes, I've got about 6.
Okay. All right.
Brisbane would be one of them.
All right.
I think Adelaide probably have. Melbourne probably have. Collingwood probably have. I just hear. I think I like their list, but we rate them on potential more than output, and that's my issue there. And potentially you might be right, but let's see Aaron Norton kick 75. Let's see Bailey Smith be an All-Australian. Let's see Cody Waitman kick 45 goals. So I know they've got the potential to. I just need to see them do it.